Anyway, thanks for listening. This is American Forked Podcast, where we come together to fix America one episode at a time.
That's right.
The country is split, or forked, if you will, and we are dedicated to bringing it back together.
We're fixing it.
While making fun of people that don't agree with us.
Yeah, exactly. Those idiots.
All of them. So tonight we have a very special show. By special, I mean it's just me, Jake, and Phil. Phil's with me.
What's
How you doing,
up?
Phil?
This is Phil. I'll be making up for the energy of two other people today.
Yep. So subscribe to us on the podcatchers if you want to listen to us all the time. If you just stumbled upon us and you like the show, subscribe to it and like us somehow on an Instagram post or something. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our handle is at American Forked, and we're active there. We post every time we have a new episode, so either you can figure out from your podcatcher or the Instagrams.
Yeah. And I'm the kind of person that I watch YouTube videos and all kinds of things, and the people are always like us and subscribe, please. And I've never done it, ever.
Never do it because they tell you to. Do it because you like it.
Yeah, well, there are shows that I like and I watch all the time, and I've never done it. So I get it. So I totally understand you, listener, don't want to like or subscribe because I never do it. But what I'm saying is this is the show to do it for. Right?
There you go. Yeah.
If I were just a regular person and I came across this show and I wasn't a part of it, I would totally
you would subscribe.
like it and subscribe it.
And share and comment and smash the like button.
Exactly.
Whatever. So, yeah, that's how you can hear from us. And we're actually... So we really want to figure out how you listeners, how America has stumbled upon the show. If you would, we have a small ask of you, and that is to text or call our voicemail line, and just to let us know, or you could send us slide into our DMs on the socials, and just let us know.
What does that even mean?
Send us a direct message.
Oh.
And then just let us know how you came across the show, whether it's because we would like to maybe do some advertising or put some money towards getting the name out there. And we would like to, do more of whatever we did to come into your ears.
I think what Jake is trying to say is send us an email or a DM or a down low and say, I found your podcast this way and I love it, or I hate it. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I keep listening.
Oh, yeah. I keep listening anyway.
And you can rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, and that'll help us a lot too.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we're going to talk about some things that are going on in the news. Just in the last couple days, there's been a lot of chatter amongst the news community about some things. And before we talk about some things that are going on nationally, I would like to bring up that our previously spotlighted American Fork local restaurant, JCWs, was in the news this week.
Oh, what's it?
And it was just a small little spotlight of this burger restaurant thrived during the pandemic. And it was JCWs. And they interviewed Chris and Clay and talked about what they did and kind of their journey throughout.
And they said process. It was all because of Bolter.
It was all because Brian Bolter
saved that restaurant.
Made it happen.
Shout out.
They pivoted, made some changes that a lot of restaurants made. They did Grubhub and DoorDash and all that stuff, and that helped their sales quite a bit. And they said a lot of people bought gift cards during the pandemic, which is a great source of revenue for a restaurant because it's immediate cash with no service rendered needed.
Yeah, it's like kind of like getting a loan.
Yeah. And so anyway, I thought it was cool that JCWs was spotlighted as a company that thrived during the pandemic.
No, that's cool. Shit. Good job, Bolter.
Chris and Clay said, we just focused on what makes us special and we made our burgers good. So
Which means
kept coming back.
Which means Bolter did it.
Which means Brian made it happen.
Yeah, he went around and worked till midnight at 7 restaurants in one day.
Yeah.
So good job.
Thanks, Brian Bolter.
Yeah, thanks,
for
buddy.
Making JCWs.
I can
thrive.
say that like the last 3 times I ate at JCW's, 2 of them were awesome. And the third one at Provo wasn't as good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was Brian working at one of those?
I didn't see him
months?
any of those times. I should call him.
I need to go and get their supposed spicy fried chicken sandwich that is not on their menu.
Oh, they have one, really?
Yeah, Brian told us. So I added it to my list of sandwich review places that I need to go to.
Your list of bowel clogging restaurants.
Heart issue triggering
Yep.
joints.
I like it.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram or TikTok on Fried Chick Review, and you'll see what the best fried chicken places are in Utah and Salt Lake counties.
Love it.
Yep. So my first statewide news article I titled as Best, aka Worst, Restaurant for Mother's Day. You know that when they advertise the best place to go for Mother's Day, that means it's probably going to be the worst place to go on that day.
Oh, the best restaurant for Mother's Day. If you don't already have a
a
reservation.
place. Right. Yeah.
Although I wonder how busy, does your family go out on Mother's Day ever?
No, Mother's Day we do family dinner at one of the members of the family's houses.
Yeah, we do too. And I wondered in Utah, where you've got a lot of more Latter-day members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if restaurants aren't quite as busy. Maybe if you're a non-Mormon, it's the place to be on Mother's Day, but maybe not. Seems like there's an awful lot of people here.
Yeah, Utah County is probably loaded, or probably a great place to go for Mother's Day because a lot of members of the church don't shop on Sundays.
But maybe.
But then there's a lot of restaurants that close
Anyway,
Sundays.
what is it?
So there's a place in St. George called the Painted Pony.
Oh.
It's a Southwestern-inspired ambiance restaurant that serves a lot of
Serves mothers.
modern cuisine. It serves mothers.
Oh.
Apparently, according to Yelp, it's the best place to visit on Mother's Day in Utah.
Oh.
So unless you set up a reservation 3 months ago, don't go.
What's it called again?
The Painted Pony.
The Painted Pony in St. George?
Yeah. It's a fine dining steakhouse.
Huh.
And they have a
there
lot
you go.
of very, very unique flavors there.
Do mothers like steak?
I don't know. When I take
Isn't that
Stacy
funny?
out to eat, she never gets steak.
Yeah.
It's always like grilled chicken or a pasta of some sort.
Yeah, I think my mom always chooses chicken or something, and my wife. I think my wife would eat steak if we went to a restaurant. But yeah, I just thought that was funny because like
Go to the steakhouse.
Mother's Day,
to
a
feed yourself.
Southwestern style steakhouse. But maybe that's the thing.
But obviously they have a lot of other things that are
Yeah,
not
they've got
steak.
chicken and all that. Maybe it's like the man is like, I'll take her somewhere nice. I'll get my steak.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to be sexist. My wife
Sure, Phil.
eats steaks. So anyway,
So they are allowed to eat steaks.
yeah, mothers can eat steaks.
Women can eat steaks.
Yeah.
This list is a nationwide list, and the top 2 restaurants are actually in Arizona. So interesting. Scottsdale and Peoria, Arizona have joints. Cafe Monarch and Haymaker Peoria. The top 2
Huh.
restaurants to go to on Mother's Day. So if you didn't know it's Mother's Day, well, chances are you did know that because it's past by the time you're listening to this.
Yeah, I hope you did know. Like I almost didn't, but was luckily reminded a day ago. So now I have 3 days to.
You know it's the worst when you buy a gift for your wife for a birthday or whatever, well
And she
in
hates
advance.
it?
Well, yeah, that's terrible if she hates it. But you buy it like in advance, knowing that you're planning ahead, and then it doesn't get shipped on time.
Oh.
That's the worst.
I did that this last Christmas. I ordered my son, he wanted a remote control Scorpion, and apparently only China makes such a thing. Because I looked all over Amazon and eBay, and all of them said like 3-week time, and I ordered it like 5 weeks before Christmas, and it came like 5 weeks after Christmas. It was like 2 months or whatever. It was like a $3 little. It wasn't even remote control. You just turned it on. It like squabbled around the floor. But anyway,
Did he like it?
Yeah. Oh, he loved it. It was like the best thing he's ever.
You gave him an IOU for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a picture of a scorpion.
Well, no, I should say I ordered 2 different ones, and the one that wasn't as cool came, and so he was happy with that. And so like mid-February, we were like, "Oh, hey, there was this late Christmas present," and he was like even more excited about that. So he didn't know he didn't miss it. So it all worked out. Kids are easy.
Yes, they are.
When they're little.
And then they get bigger.
Yeah, and then they hate you.
So it's springtime, and during springtime, there are a lot of moments when you'll find baby birds on the ground that have fallen from their nests.
Oh.
And the Utah's Division of Wildlife Resources has, as a public announcement, notified people what they're supposed to do when they see a dead bird.
What are you supposed to do?
Or not a dead bird, but a baby bird falling out of the nest that's still alive.
Squabbling around on the ground.
Yeah, and chirping.
Struggling to survive.
About to get eaten by ants.
Mama's up in the nest squawking, doesn't know what to do.
What do you think you're supposed to do?
I think you're supposed to gently lift it and drop it in the garbage can.
Because if there's one thing we know about Phil, he does not like birds. We learned last week.
I like birds. I was just saying, what was I saying last time?
The birds that get fried.
Oh, yeah, I didn't care about the birds that were dying because of the electricity.
Yeah.
But I like birds. If there was a baby bird, I would pick it up. Actually, I think what you're really supposed to do is not touch it. Is that right? Just leave it alone and let nature do its thing?
So it's the most common belief is that people think that if you touch it,
mama won't like it.
The mom won't like it. They'll smell your scent and leave it alone and probably, neglect it.
Or eat it.
But according to the DWR in Utah, that's the thing you should do. Pick it up
and put it
back in the nest.
Oh, cool.
They said that the mom doesn't care about your scent. And in some cases, I've heard a lot, the mom will they know that this bird's not going to make it.
Yeah.
So they push it out of the nest, which I don't know if that is common or not, if that happens a lot, but I've been told that's what a lot of them do. But sometimes they tried to fly and they hit the ground instead.
Yeah.
So that's what we should do. Pick it up and put it back in the nest.
It's kind of like if one of your children isn't going to make it, you just got to
throw them in the garbage.
Push them out of the nest. Throw them drop them in the garbage, not throw. Gently.
Speaking of which, the current national hottest item in the news right now, aside from Elon Musk buying Twitter, is this situation about Roe v. Wade.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal.
So that's just in the last couple days, there was a Supreme Court justice opinion leak, or kind of basically a document that shows that the Supreme Court justice has a quote-unquote conservative majority, and I don't know if they're planning on overthrowing Roe v. Wade, but that's kind of looks like is what is probably going to happen in the near future.
Yeah, apparently it's a real leak, and they're pissed about it. And
who's they?
The Supreme Court, or John Roberts, I think, came out and said this is like a horrible abuse of the court's trust, or I forget the language he used. but they've ordered an internal. They have their own police there at the Supreme Court campus or whatever you call that building, and they've ordered them to investigate. And I wondered about that. Like, the Supreme Court is the name is self-explanatory. And like, a judge can order police to do anything, like in your local district, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Supreme Court orders you to be arrested, can they just charge you and say, or not even charge you? Would there even be a trial, is what I'm saying? Can't they just arrest you and be like,
pretty much put anyone in jail?
Yeah. I don't know how that works. Maybe that's not the case, but
I don't know. But yeah, they're not happy. And the left is very not happy because of the contents.
Right.
They're not saying anything about how, they don't care that this information was leaked, because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Basically, all comedians on late night comedians, Jimmy Kimmel and all those, Stephen Colbert are all making jokes about how terrible it is that the court is going to be, deciding your all women's health care now and stuff like that. And I think they grossly misrepresent the judicial system and how it actually works.
Well, I think that argument is kind of self-defeating, because that's exactly what the court did before, was decide what was right or wrong for women's health care.
Yeah.
And so if they're changing it, I don't know if it should be changed after all this time, but and if it's sent to the states to decide, I don't know. I think legislators need to come together and make a law that makes sense for everyone. I think they need to actually say, like, Congress needs to pass a law or an amendment to the Constitution and say, this is what abortion is. Like this is when it's okay, this is when it's not. I don't see why that couldn't be bipartisan, like some kind of compromise. But people have heated opinions on both sides of this. The one side is like, you're killing a baby. The other side is like, you are taking away this person's right to have control over their own body.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, originally the argument, so Roe v. Wade was a court ruling in Dallas County, Texas, back in, I think, 1973.
Yeah.
When a woman, Jane Roe was actually just her pseudonym, but she felt that Texas's law banning abortion at the time was an infringement on her personal right to privacy, because abortion was legal for only if the mother's life was in danger.
Right.
But it was, I guess, according to her, a breach of her privacy for the medical community, doctors, to know that. So they ended up saying that abortion is, anyway, it was a positive in the pro-choice, quote unquote, pro-choice community.
Yeah.
And apparently the information has been leaked that the Supreme Court is planning on overruling it.
Yeah, it's
or overthrowing it or whatever.
And I guess really what that means, I was looking at a map earlier today that pretty much all the conservative states, it would be outlawed mostly.
Yeah.
And then the more, which I don't even know if that map was accurate, because it was saying that in Texas it would be outlawed. But my understanding was that Texas just passed a law that outlawed it after 16 weeks. Is that right?
Just recently, I don't remember what the time frame was.
We talked about it on this podcast. I can't remember what it was, but I thought it was something to that effect. And see, to me, that means that abortion is still legal. It's just not legal for as long as it is in other states.
Yes, some very blue states have, we got states that are wanting to do full term, even post-birth abortions, which is
Do they really?
crazy to me. Yeah.
What states are doing that?
Well, there was this, I can't remember, it was somewhere down south where there was a bill presented where basically anytime in the third trimester, a baby could be aborted.
Huh.
If the physician and the mother agreed that was the best choice.
But isn't it, what is Roe v. Wade currently? What
is it?
Like what, because Roe v. Wade doesn't say you can have an abortion anytime. There still is a cutoff, isn't there?
Well, initially it was, it didn't necessarily legalize abortion. I think what Roe v. Wade did was basically say that a woman can have the right to choose an abortion without the government's interference in her decision.
Right.
So I think it still leaves it up to essentially leaves it up to the states to make those laws, which is normally the case, right? States are as sovereign as the federal government will allow them. But I don't know what the trimester was. I mean, initially it was...
I can't remember. I want to say it was 22 weeks. We talked about it before. It's too bad that, like, Jeff, the professional abortionist, doesn't know...
Abortionist?
isn't here. And
Jeff, did you know you're a professional
facts.
abortionist is?
No, I want to say that when I asked this question last, he knew the answer. But yeah, and that's why I'm saying I don't know. I'd be curious to dig into this more to see what actually would change, because everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, if Roe v. Wade is shut out, that's terrible." But would anything change that drastically, even in right-leaning states? I would say, like in Utah, that I can't imagine it's an outright abortion ban without Roe v. Wade. I imagine there's still several. For example, rape and incest and other things, but I don't know. Again, I'm just like,
you just several justifications for.
Yeah, like I'm saying in Utah, if they overdo Roe v. Wade, there will still be abortions in Utah, legal ones, in theory. But maybe not as much, maybe not.
Yeah, because I think you're right, because the Roe v. Wade decision was basically taking the government out of that decision. It doesn't make it so...
Local, like state governments.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know anything here.
We are pretty dumb.
Yeah, but it's getting overturned, and Hillary Clinton has a beard.
So I found this... on Instagram. The Babylon Bee is a satirical news outlet.
Oh yeah,
kind of like The Onion, and they put on their Instagram a photograph of a janitor with yellow rubber gloves mopping what looks to be the marble floor of a judicial building, which we suppose that it is the Supreme Court Justice Building.
Yeah.
And that janitor appears oddly like Hillary Clinton.
With a beard.
With a long braided beard. And the caption says, "Source of SCOTUS leak found to be Swedish Supreme Court janitor Hildur Clintonheim." I thought that was really funny.
That is pretty funny.
So apparently Hillary Clinton leaked this information.
Yeah.
So I guess this leak essentially is aiding the left in that they're able to spark outrage about the topic and get people, talking about it, and potentially allow states to set laws or whatever legislation to make decisions that are related to abortion before the Supreme Court justice come out with the decision, because they didn't actually publicly do anything yet. It's just this leak. And
I can't help but feel that we're kind of getting back to this mob mentality where, because the only reason I can see to leak such a document is to rally people up in protests or whatever to pressure the court to make a different decision.
Yeah.
Which in theory is not really how our system is set up to work.
Yeah.
It's set up to elect presidents, and those presidents choose or nominate those Supreme Court justices. They're confirmed by the Senate and the House. Is that right? Both chambers of Congress?
Yeah, I think they both have to.
Yeah, who are all elected officials. And what those Supreme Court justices decide is the law of the land. There's nothing in the Constitution about if you don't like it, then storm the Capitol, pretty much.
Right.
Which would be like a more Donald Trump thing to do. But
yeah, Donald Trump would make people do that for sure.
So we'll see if Biden returns it in kind.
Yeah, we'll see how much influence this leak has on the decision.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Put across the table.
What would be even cooler is if the decision was even harder in favor of overturning it after this.
Oh, right.
Like if
turns out the majority of the people are like,
because everyone protests and because they leaked the information, the court was like, well, we'll show you, you know what I mean? And
then it was even more majority.
Yeah.
Like 7-2 or something.
But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But they're saying now that now they're worried they might overturn gay marriage and all this other stuff.
Yeah, interracial marriage. They're talking about
interracial marriage.
Yeah.
See, the gay marriage thing, I could somewhat agree with, because I think when they passed the gay marriage law or whatever that's called in 2015, I think it could have been a lot better. I think what the government should do is say, we don't have any say in what a family structure is. And so anybody that is cohabitating in a house can file their taxes together or have survivors' benefits or whatever. Because there are situations other than, there might be two sisters living together. And I'm saying that in a non-sexual way.
Household,
yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And, but they're single. They're both 80. They've lived together their whole lives.
But that's their family structure.
That's their family. There are a lot of different ways a family could be set up. So I think that law should be broader than it reached, I guess you'd say, including polygamy too, because I want polygamy back. Just kidding.
Well, we've talked about that before. Well, how if we are to legalize same-sex marriage, then it makes sense for us to also legalize other things such as polygamy. Because the argument...
Just say you want polygamy back.
I want to have so many wives. Okay. It's not even funny.
I get it.
But the argument is for same-sex marriage or same-sex attraction could be the same as someone who is, say they're, attracted to multiple people. It's hard to separate those legislatively. So...
Yeah, I agree. And so I could see, I guess what I'm saying is if that were to happen, I wouldn't mind if they revised it or made it broader. I would think it would be dumb if they just reversed it, because now you've got all these people who were married and have families.
Hey, what does that mean for their relationships now?
Yeah.
Are they going to mandate divorces?
Yeah, and while I'm sure it wouldn't, people aren't going to just get divorced over it. Exactly, like you said, though. It's like it almost would make the government look really bad, because they're just flip-flopping on big issues, I feel like, that are affecting people's lives.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the government should not have any say in who we marry.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be a government decision at all.
Because you want polygamy.
Because I want all the wives.
I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So next one is technically world news item. There's a restaurant that started in Provo by a guy from my mission that I know. It's called CupBop.
Oh, the Korean
Have
place.
you ever eaten at CupBop before?
Didn't you take me there? It's not the one that's right by like Ace Hardware and Little Caesars. They're in Provo. Chick-fil-A,
No.
Macy's.
No, not there.
But you know the one
There's
I'm
a
talking about.
Bumblebee's there. Oh, the Korean sit-down restaurant. That was Samhak.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Where's
yeah.
CupBop?
CupBop is like a Korean-American fusion fast food place.
Yeah, but where?
It started in, do you know where right outside BYU campus, like where the original J-Dogs is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Across the street is a first brick and mortar store. They started as a food truck and got huge, really, really popular, really fast. And then they opened a brick and mortar in Provo, and then they just expanded all over the place. And now they're like in 4 or 5 different states across the country. But anyway, they were on Shark Tank last September, I think, and their show aired this week on Monday. And they ended up, spoiler alert, they ended up striking a deal with Mark Cuban they were asking for $1 million for 3% of their company, which was
and they got
massive. Well, they got 4 of the 5 sharks basically like battling back and forth. They got Lori and Barbara together. They wanted to go in together, and then there was Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, and then Mark Cuban, and so they were battling, and so their deals. I think they ended up on $1 million for 5% with Mark Cuban, which is a massive evaluation of their business.
Yeah, for sure. Because that means what? That their business is worth $20 million, essentially?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was initially like $30 million valuation. But they want to go like, sometimes when the businesses are really successful, the sharks are always like, well, why are you here if you're so successful?
Yeah.
And they said, we want this to be worldwide.
Yeah.
Right now, I think they might have a few locations outside. No, they don't have any outside the U.S., but anyway, so they want to go worldwide, and they started right here in Utah. So,
and this guy's from your mission.
Yeah, his name is Song Jung-un, and he's the guy that started it, and he's super energetic and very outgoing and really nice guy. And I knew him from we served together in Korea.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And when we had our food truck, Stacy and I had our cupcake truck.
Yeah.
Back in 2012, we didn't have it for very long when we decided to sell, and CupBop was one of the ones that almost bought it.
Oh really?
And I think it would have been their second or third truck at the time.
So is it just food trucks then? Or do they have restaurants?
Yeah. I think they've got way more brick and mortar stores now than they do trucks.
Oh, okay. I know that I've heard of it, and I'm sure I've been there, but with you before, because I've been with you to a couple Korean places.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I've ever taken you there, but it's basically a bowl of rice and cabbage and sweet potato noodles with pork, beef, chicken, veggies, whatever servings they have, and then they put sauce on it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Today was their 9-year anniversary, and we're selling their all of their cups were $6.
Wow. So that's in 9 years built up to a $30 million company right here in the great state of Utah.
Yep.
So awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So CupBop's awesome.
Yeah.
And they're working with Mark Cuban now.
Wow.
So I don't know if there were any other news articles, news items, things going on in the world that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, what was there? Well, this isn't really a news item, but I was watching Elon Musk, I guess, was recently on a TED Talks thing, and the guy asked him, he's like, so do you think, is there anything that you'd say to people about like this tweet or this tweet? Like how do you, like there were like some crazy things he said, like, I don't know. I'm going to buy Facebook and close it or whatever. Like,
Didn't delete it.
the guy's like, do you think you could be a little more candid? Or like, how do you come up with your tweets? Like, what's your process? And he's like, process? He's like, I'm not thinking about this stuff. I'm like, a thought comes to my head and I just tweeted it.
Yeah.
And he like shrugs and everyone laughs. And it's like, that's what it is. So I thought that was funny that, cause he kind of is like a minier, smarter Donald Trump that like kind of shoots.
Yeah, as far as his tweeting activity, it's all from the hip.
Yeah. In general, it just seems to be like, yeah, I'm going to buy this company. Yeah, I'm going to do this now.
Yeah.
Like if you were the owner of or partner, whatever he was in PayPal, you'd think you're like, I'm done with working or anything, you know? But he sells that. He starts all these other companies that are all like at the time absurd. I'm going to start an electric car company in the United States and build cars from scratch.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. I'm going to build my own NASA pretty
Right.
much. Like all these
We're going to
things.
send people to Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All these ideas are insane. And I'm sure every like person he went to business school with or whatever people he knows were like, I don't know, man, that seems like kind of nuts, but it's worked out really well.
Yeah.
Now he just bought Twitter apparently. So
Yeah, some rich nerd bought Twitter.
yeah, exactly.
In what world would that happen? Only in ours.
I really, if you told me that 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't even have thought that like Bill Gates could do that. But Elon Musk suddenly became so much richer than even the next two guys. Like,
Yeah.
he's like crazy rich. And I also was thinking like, I think I mentioned this on the podcast a while back. I'm like, are these guys really that rich? Because they just own a lot of stock, but it's not like they can just write a check. But he's apparently writing, I don't know how that's going to work. I'd like to know like what size check he's writing and what's going to be worked out in stock exchanges or whatever.
Versus loans and
Yeah.
how many investors he's got.
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently he can come up with $44 billion.
Yeah. Made a lot of the Twitter executives rich.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how both sides of the political spectrum are responding to Elon Musk. And we were looking at his tweet the little graphic that he tweeted out recently that was basically like 3 different bars of the political spectrum. There's people on the left, people on the right, and then a line right in the middle. And he was just a little bit left of the line.
Yeah.
And he said, "This is me." And then it got to where the next one was the left, or he decided to buy Twitter, right? And then the left kind of moved away and put him slowly closer to the middle.
Yeah.
And then now the left is like completely distancing themselves from him and saying how much they hate him and it's a bad idea. And all the news outlets are saying it's terrible. We're just letting this really rich guy buy Twitter. He's going to destroy the world. And all the people on the right are like, I love it. It's a great idea.
Yeah, I was watching the other day on YouTube this clip. Oh, I didn't record the thing, so I won't play it. But pretty much it was Donald Trump. It was during the first campaign with Hillary, and it was some like gala or something, kind of like the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but it obviously wasn't that. And
some political elite.
yeah, and he
gathering.
got up and he killed it. Everyone, including Hillary, was dying. He told this joke. He's like, everyone says that Hillary's really bad, but she said the nicest thing to me. We were at the Capitol building the other day, and I accidentally bumped into her, and she said, "Pardon me." Meaning he's going to be president and or whatever. And it shows her and she's hysterically laughing. And he says during this thing, he's like, he looks around the room. He's pointing to all these celebrities and these big wigs. What's the name? The guy on CNN that got fired?
Cuomo?
Cuomo. He's pointing over at Cuomo, and Cuomo's waving at him, and it's really surreal to watch. And he says, even at that point, he's like, 5 years ago, these people were, and he's pointing to the crowd in general. He's like, these people would bring me into their home, show me their children, have dinner with me. We would pray together before dinner. And now they're calling me like the worst person ever,
Talking about the people in the room.
Exactly. He's talking about the people in the room. He's like, a lot of these people were my friends. And then he says, and then I ran for president as a Republican candidate. And now it's just like, whoop. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I kind of felt that way too, because growing up, you'd see or hear about Donald Trump. Everyone seemed to love him. He's on late night shows, Letterman or whatever, like, oh, Donald Trump, he's the greatest businessman or whatever. And as soon as he came out and ran, it was like,
he was vilified.
This guy is Satan. Like, how dare anybody, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It was a big change. So I can see, like, with Elon, the same kind of thing. Like, everyone loved the guy. And I'm not, and my understanding is he's not Republican or says he is or anything like that. He's just like doesn't agree with some leftist ideas. But
well, I guess technically he's left of center based on his little cartoon that he tweeted out.
Yeah, well, left of center of like 2012 or whatever.
Right, which is like super right now.
Yeah, I guess so. So it's interesting. It's weird how politics have shifted so much. And I think Donald Trump is a perfect example where, like, it used to be people were closer together, I don't believe in abortion, you do, but we still work together, we get things worked out. Now it's just like, you're Satan, leave me alone.
I'm not going to associate with you. We don't have anything in common because we disagree politically.
Yeah. In fact, I know a person, and I'm not going to say who exactly, but they are like kind of pulling away, I guess, from their immediate family because their family votes Republican, I guess is the best way to put it. And they just like, and they're telling them this, like, I don't want to be around people that would vote, and talking to their sisters, their parents,
Yeah.
I don't want to be around people that vote this way. I think that's nuts. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
But
There's so much and that's kind of like the crux of the show. It's become, initially we started the podcast because we wanted to get together and talk as friends and talk about what's going on. But then it became obvious that there is something that at least the small group of us that still gather, there's an idea that we agree with, that there's division in the world, and the best remedy, in our opinions, is to bring people who have differing opinions together, put them across the table, and let them debate and argue and talk about things that they disagree with, but also say, well, we do agree on this and this. Let's come together on those things and try to make the world a better place. Yeah.
I really don't see why on any particular issue people can't just work something out.
Yeah.
Like I've got a bunch of family that are tied up in all kinds of lawsuits over my grandparents' farm. And it seems to me that like something could have been worked out a long time ago, but it's like one side or the other just can't do it. It's got to be this hard line, 100% all or nothing type thing. And it's like, where's that going to lead other than either nothing happening or more extreme things happening, like people storming the Capitol or riots or all that kind of stuff?
Not just people in your family storming the Capitol, but in general, right?
Yeah.
That mindset. Where does that mindset
Not
lead?
my own brother that stormed the Capitol. Just kidding, government listening. I don't know anyone that stormed the Capitol building except Jake.
It was me. Yeah, it was me.
But anyway.
Yeah. So we need to fix the world.
Yeah, let's fix it. One episode at a time.
Yeah. One thing that I did we didn't even think to bring up, but just came to mind. We just hit the supposed 1 millionth death of COVID.
Oh, that's right.
In the United States.
I forgot to mention that for some reason.
But I say supposed because
you don't believe in COVID.
I don't believe in COVID at all. No, because I don't believe that the numbers are accurate at all.
Well, the CDC has already come out and said that 6% of the cases, and this is clear back when it was like 500,000 deaths.
Yeah.
They came out and said that 6% of those were like just COVID, right? Meaning there are no core comorbidities.
Yeah.
So if that's still true and still is the case, if there's 1 million deaths, that means it was what, 60,000 over the course of 2 years, which would be, I'm sorry to say, even lower than the flu, which can be 50 to 100,000 a year. But we don't really know, right? We don't know.
No, we don't. That's the problem.
Assuming it was 1 million deaths, that's obviously that's higher than the flu by tenfold, roughly. Well, no, because that's in 2 years.
So 2.5, almost 2.5 years. 2 years, just over 2 years.
Five times
of pandemic time. But I mean, it was December of 2019. I think that COVID was initially kind of like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then 4 months later is when they kind of shut things down.
Because Fauci just said the pandemic was over, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But didn't he say like, but we should still wear masks and be careful?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up because I'll be accused of spreading misinformation. So this is from the Washington Post. Fauci says the U.S. is no longer in full-blown pandemic phase. It's out of the full-blown explosive pandemic phase. We're really in a transitional phase from a deceleration of the numbers into hopefully a more controlled phase and endemicity.
So an endemic.
Yeah. But then later that afternoon, he kind of walked it back because so many media outlets were like, how dare you?
Fauci changed his mind on something?
He changed his mind. But in all reality, like when I look at the numbers, I wasn't like, and I'm obviously like I'm in the spectrum of like, I believe in COVID, but that it's maybe not quite as bad as some people think it is. And, but when I looked at the numbers, we're still having like 70,000 cases a day or something like that and several hundred deaths. So, and that's why it comes back to me like, it doesn't seem to me the way that these people are reacting about COVID and saying how bad it is lines up with the numbers at all. Mm-hmm. Like a year ago or whatever, when we were having this same amount, like people were freaking out, like wear masks, do this, blah, blah, blah. Now we have the same amount of deaths. And it might just be that they're finally accepting that like, this is just what we're going to have to put up with. This many people are going to die. This is the new normal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's just gotten to be old news.
Yeah.
And there are other things to talk about.
Yeah.
And to focus on.
No one cares about COVID anymore.
I mean, it's right now, it's rare to see someone with a mask on in public.
Yeah, that's true. I don't see too many. And if I do, I guess I don't even notice anymore. When I was in the Philippines, I would see people wear masks like that, and I thought it was ridiculous. Because I'd ask people, like, why are they doing that? And they're like, oh, because, like, the pollution. I'm like, but they know that doesn't filter pollution, right? But it probably actually does, because they had such thick I'm sure it was like in the dust from the road and stuff. I don't know, but
in China, they've been doing it for years, wearing masks.
And Taiwan, they've done
Yeah.
it. I think that's why Taiwan's done so well, because they were already set up to like not touch each other. I mean, I lived in Boston for 5 years, and that's just a joke. And that's why they're one of the worst hit states, because I can't remember. Like 80% of the state commutes every day, and the public transportation system just crammed in like sardines, like standing shoulder to shoulder. Like, what a joke. They didn't shut all that down. They might have for 2 weeks or whatever. But
And even if ever like 90% of people in public transportation is wearing a mask, it really is not going to do much.
not when you're touching each
You're
other.
touching your mask, you're touching the other people, you're touching the handles of the, of the subway handles and all that.
Yep. And I guarantee, I don't know. So, but if this really is the transition out of COVID, that's a relief. But I wonder if people are just going to be so tired of it anyway that it doesn't matter. Like, it could come back really hard, and maybe people just be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows what'll happen?
I know
Things have been crazy lately, right? Like, we've got crazy like politics stuff going on, and then pandemics, and now Russia is like attacking places.
Yeah, I remember when 21, it seems like the last 4 years have been like, okay, that year, 2019's behind us. 2020 is going to be a good year.
Yeah.
And then by March, it's like, this is the worst year ever.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the year, it's the same thing. 21's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
22 is going to be, and then just all this stuff happens. It just does. Like, you got to have a positive attitude about it. You can't be hating everybody because they disagree with, they're not wearing a mask. They're not, they like Elon Musk, or they vote this way, or you just got to have a positive mindset and laugh at all the crap going on. I mean, you don't laugh at deaths, and it's not funny that there's a war in Ukraine, but just laugh, find things to laugh about and to have, an enjoyable time. And we're giving our, children toxic loads of terrible genetics because of the negativity in our lives.
Yeah, that's true. How is all this stuff going to affect our kids? Because the crazy thing that I found is my wife and I, we don't talk politics around the kids ever. But my kids bring up politics all the time. Or if like I'm watching the news or something, Donald Trump's on there or Joe Biden, my kids comment on it. And and a couple of times I've turned it off. I'm like, where did you even hear that? Like, so they got to be getting it from friends, from school. I don't know. But, or maybe it is that like my wife and I have talked about it enough that we don't realize. But I think we've been pretty careful about it. But you said your kids do too.
Yeah, same exact thing. Like when the Ukraine war started, Logan would come home from school and talk about how terrible Putin is. He's the worst person in the world, and we need to support Ukraine, and just a lot of political stuff.
Yeah.
How much he hates Joe Biden, and we don't ever talk negative about politicians in our household. Like Stacy and I, as parents, they get it. They get it from school. They definitely do.
Or maybe it's just the new, like Fox News comes on, or I don't know.
Or they're on YouTube all the time.
YouTube could be a big thing too.
Stuff.
And maybe they're just seeing like the clickbait headlines or whatever. Like Joe Biden did this or Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. My daughter came home and she told me this whole elaborate story that they were reading about in school about how Russia took over the Balkans or something like that, or invaded something in the 90s. I can't remember what it was, but she was telling me like the whole history of it. And I was like, where in the F did you hear all this? What are you're how old is she now? 8 years old? And I'm like,
your oldest?
Yeah. And she's like, oh, we're reading it in school. It's a book that blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just thought that was crazy. But
yeah, when we were 8, when I was your age, we were not exposed to near amount of stuff, garbage stuff, false stuff, things that 8, 9-year-olds shouldn't be exposed to.
Yeah. Well, the only political thing I remember growing up was the Clinton scandal. And I only remember hearing the word Watergate. Like, I recognize that from my childhood. But the Clinton scandal, I had to be 12, 13, 14 years old when all that was going on. But I don't remember anything about politics before that. Yeah. But my kids will grow up and they'll be able to tell you who Donald Trump is, or Joe Biden, or Hillary Clinton, or any of that.
Yeah, I mean, my 7-year-old daughter does Donald Trump impressions. Yeah, because she sees him all over the place. Right? Yeah, it's crazy. It's weird.
It is weird.
How much information is coming across? What impact does that have on our little kids?
And is that good? Is it going to make them better citizens that are more involved in politics? Or is it going to make them even more polarized than we are now? Mm-hmm. To where they just maybe by the time they hit junior high, it's like Republicans are in this gang and Democrats in this gang, and every junior high across the nation is like a Bloods versus Crips.
Right.
Whatever. I don't know.
Sharks versus... whatever. What's the other one?
Jets.
Yeah.
When you're a jet, you're a jet.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg's.
We should talk about movies one other time.
Oh yeah. What's coming out this week? Aren't we going to go see it?
Doctor Strange and the Mysteries of the Multiverse or whatever.
Madness.
Yeah,
that should be a good one.
That looks pretty intense.
Yeah.
They've got Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier, and I've been
waiting.
Do they really? Yeah, I've been waiting for a Marvel, it's not even a crossover. It's Marvel within Marvel, X-Men and Avenger, crew. I've been waiting for something to merge those together. Like, when is Wolverine going to help tear apart Thanos's armies? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree, but as long as it's the original X-Men cast, which they're all getting pretty old now.
Yeah, they're all pretty old.
I don't know why they ever changed them in the first place. But then they went back at the very
money,
end.
Contracts.
Yeah.
Same reason they always do it, but
yeah.
And Patrick Stewart is.
Oh, that's crazy,
isn't it?
That means I bet you that Hugh Jackman's going to show up as Wolverine.
I didn't see him on the.
Well, of course not. It's a secret
on IMDb. They've got a list of all the cast there.
Well, yeah, but they didn't announce Tobey Maguire in the latest Spider-Man. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's old enough.
Yeah.
That was a good movie, too.
Yeah, that was good. Have you noticed a pattern? It's like, we can't think of anything new or find new actors that you like.
Let's bring back actors from the people who are now 30 and 40 years old grew up loving.
Exactly. Star Wars, X-Men, Spider-Man, all those. Yeah. Star Trek. All those big franchises. It's like, let's just bring back the original cast. Everyone will go, woo-woo, in the theater when they come on. It'll make billions. Yeah, and they did.
It's crazy how much money and special effects they dump into those movies.
Well, yeah, and they found a formula that works. Mm-hmm. And I think they're doing pretty good. I've said a little while back that I was pretty bummed out about movies, but it seems like better movies have been coming out lately. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's something you've experienced, but
yeah, during COVID, obviously there was a lot of theaters weren't even running movies, and some of them, to stay afloat, they were showing older films.
Yeah, that's right.
But now that pandemic is over, movie production is in full swing, and some good stuff's coming out.
Yeah, maybe it was like, once everything finally got stalled, the executives actually paid attention, and they're like, what's actually going on with my company? What movies are we making? No, can that. This seems pretty good.
Yeah, they can scrutinize what comes out now instead of just garbage.
And it probably because they got to be swinging out of the gate because they're probably all teetering on bankruptcy. So that's why Warner Brothers is suddenly doing a Matrix movie, which was terrible, by the way. If you haven't seen
Yeah.
the new Matrix, don't.
I didn't hear a single good thing about it, so I didn't waste my money.
I'm glad you didn't. Don't even watch it on TV or anything. Just don't do it. Like, you know how you felt at
Protest the movie.
you know how you felt at the end of The Matrix 3, where you were kind of like, I could have done without that, because it kind of ruined the other movies a little bit for me. This like ruins the whole franchise. I don't think I could go back and watch the first movie
Really?
without just being like,
Knowing that, in 20 years, they're going to come out with the garbage.
yeah,
I can't watch that.
exactly. Well, just knowing what happens in the story and just like, ugh. Bleh.
Stacy and I just watched the Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh,
Unbearable.
super talented, whatever.
Yeah, unbearable weight of
The massive weight of talent.
The
or
massive
something.
weight of unbearable talent, or something like that.
Yeah, was it good?
We loved it.
Yeah.
It was super. It was really. So they had a lot of F words on it.
Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah,
Like probably 50.
like more than Trent.
Easy. More than Trent. If
Yeah.
Trent was in a 2.5 hour movie, it would have a third the amount of.
More than Ozark.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, there were some scenes that were like in 5 minutes they say it 10 times.
Yeah.
But so I'm not a huge fan of. I'm a fan of I think they can have. I think that the F word can be very well placed in some movies and fits the script very well.
Yeah.
But this was just overdoing it. Aside from that, the story was it was wholesome, super, super funny.
Yeah.
The way that the characters interacted together, the way the story unfolded, the cinematography was incredible. I really, really liked it.
Oh, cool.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'll have to see it.
But I was skeptical. I was like, a movie with Nicolas Cage, about Nicolas Cage, was he just like trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what fits, what sticks? I don't. Anyway, it was really good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, and I saw something the other day. He was getting interviewed or something, and they were like, "So, are you really doing a Joe Exotic movie?" And he's like, "No, that was never a thing." It's like,
Really?
yeah, he wasn't.
That was out there as like, it's going to happen.
Yeah, but well, and maybe he did say, "Well, we looked at it" or something. But then he said something like, "But then I realized that I was nothing like Joe Exotic" or something like that. And I actually thought it was a weird cast anyway. Like, I can't picture Nicolas Cage being good at an accent, because he's always just like the guy that plays him. Like,
He's Nicolas Cage.
He's Nicolas Cage,
like
right.
Liam Neeson.
exactly.
Or Jason Statham.
like-
That's just what he does.
It'd be like, yeah, either of those guys. Like, hey, can you do this Southern redneck impression or whatever? I don't know. And
Well,
maybe he could have.
It's funny because in that movie, The Unbearable Talent, he does a Boston accent
Oh, does he?
to essentially appeal to a movie producer or a script writer to be in his movie.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do it right now. I'll do. The guy's like, no, you don't have to do it. I'll do the accent right now. And he did it.
Was it
And
good?
It's good, yeah.
Oh,
Sounded
yeah?
very Boston-esque. And then he did it as kind of a, a good comedian will have a throwback to an earlier joke later on at the end of their bit.
Yeah.
He did that in the movie. Later on, he did the same accent, and it fit the moment in this I'll just say this mission that he was on.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
But Tom Cruise's movie, like, is that going to come out? I think it's supposed to finally has a date, June-ish.
Oh, Top Gun?
Top Gun.
Yeah, I don't know. It better be good.
Been like that was right before COVID, and then they're like, not going to do it, and then now finally it's coming out. I'm excited for that.
I mean, they've pretty much shown every scene in the movie by now.
yeah,
so
we
I
know
don't
the story.
Yeah.
We know it all.
Okay.
There've been like 8 trailers.
We're bringing you back, but it does look like it'd be cool to see in like IMAX
It's Top
or
Gun.
something.
It's like you have to see it.
Yeah.
Whether it's
But if there's Chinese pandering in a U.S. military movie, I'm gonna be pissed. about that.
that was upsetting that you brought to our attention the supposed Chinese pandering that's going to be in there.
Yeah, basically, if you don't know, listener, in the original Top Gun, Tom Cruise wore a jacket that had, I think, the U.S., the Japanese, and the Taiwanese flag on it. And in the new trailers for the new movie, he's wearing the same jacket, but the Taiwanese flag is now some other nonsense flag
Yeah.
that isn't a real place. And the idea is they're pandering to Chinese audiences because China probably won't allow the movie to be shown.
If it shows anything with Taiwan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is messed up. Come on, Tom Cruise.
Right?
Yeah,
Use your mind powers.
exactly.
What movie was that? Talladega Nights.
Oh, I don't
Tom
know.
Cruise using his mind powers on me.
Every time I think about Tom Cruise, I always think about Tropic Thunder. Didn't we show you that scene
Yeah.
a little while ago? It's like the best role he's ever played. It's so
It's a
absurd.
cameo.
Yeah.
I love when big stars do small cameos.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a small part. He had a part.
It was a part, but it was a support. Like he doesn't
It was a
normally do a
support role.
supporting
Yeah.
role, but he nailed it. It was just like so well done.
Well, what's his face? Iron Man guy. Plays Iron Man. What's his name?
Yeah, Robert Downey. Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
He had a small cameo in that one too.
Well, no, he's a lead role in that.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
So I never saw the movie. So
Oh, okay. But he plays an actor that's doing like
He's
blackface.
in blackface, yeah.
He plays an actor who is playing an African. He's a white actor playing in an African American role.
yeah, I need to see it
Yeah.
before I comment on it more.
Oh, it's the best. It's like side-splittingly funny. Not very appropriate for my children.
Don't take your kids
Yeah.
to see it, or show them in your house because it's not in the theaters anymore.
Exactly.
So let's watch more movies. Let's enjoy the good things about the world and debate stuff that's going on and come together and agree to disagree or love each other for the things we have in common.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with healthy debate. If you don't agree with your brother or your mom or your sister or your friend, just say, I don't agree, and this is why. And we're still friends and kiss each other at the end or whatever you do. Hug, slap, whatever.
Let's not ostracize people because they disagree.
Yeah,
Let's bring them in closer because of that reason.
I like it. I think we helped fix America
We
today.
fixed America.
Oh,
I
good
believe.
job. I think we're done then.
I think we did it.
This is the
show. This
last
is great.
episode.
We didn't even make it to episode 70 yet
Perfect.
because we fixed it. Thanks for listening to the American Forked podcast. We love having you here with us. We didn't mention that Jeff's not here. I don't think he's busy. He's got some family things going on, so he couldn't make it.
He's
I think
in
this
prison.
is only like his maybe second episode he hasn't been on.
Oh, yeah. He's been a true believer.
Yeah.
So we
he's-
miss you, Jeff. Next time you'll be on to tell us all the facts that you know about abortion.
Yeah, we're waiting for that.
Yep.
We'll see what happens next week with Roe v. Wade. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Goodbye.
I don't wanna eat some babies, and I don't wanna say the women's bodies. Everybody's got a thing to come unglued. Transgender kids or immigration too. Maybe I'll jump onto the internet, tell everybody how right I am. Uh-oh, did you just say that? I am telling. Why can't you be the way I want to be? Why can't you see the things that Facebook tells me? It's so clear because I did my own research. It's how it is, 'cause Twitter is my teacher. Twitter is my teacher. Everybody's got a mask on, except for people who like to miss their flights. They all said it wouldn't last long.
Special hello to all of you in this room who have known and loved me for many, many years. It's true. The politicians. They've had me to their homes. They've introduced me to their children. I've become their best friends in many instances. They've asked for my endorsement, and they always wanted my money. And even called me really a dear, dear friend. But then, suddenly, decided when I ran for president as a Republican that I've always been a no-good, rotten, disgusting scoundrel. And they totally forgot about me. But that's okay. You know, they say when you do this kind of an event, you always start out with a self-deprecating joke. Some people think this would be tough for me, but the truth is, it's true. It's true. The truth is I'm actually a modest person, very modest. It's true. In fact, many people tell me that modesty is perhaps my best quality. Even better than my temperament. But the candidates have some lighthearted moments together, which is true. I have no doubt that Hillary is going to laugh quite a bit tonight, sometimes even at an appropriate moment. And even tonight, with all of the heated back and forth between my opponent and me at the debate last night, we have proven that we can actually be civil to each other. In fact, just before taking the dais, Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said, "Pardon me." And I very politely replied, "Let me talk to you about that after I get into office." Just kidding, just kidding. And Hillary was very gracious. She said if somehow she gets elected, she wants me to be, without question, either her ambassador to Iraq or to Afghanistan. It's my choice.